The second, I'm rolling up my sleeves because this is kind of nitty gritty, but it is a very powerful tool, is to ask positive affirmative questions. I call these PACs, positive affirmative questions. And there's a lot of research on affirmations, and it's really a mixed bag. Affirmations can be helpful. We know that there are certain things that increase their efficacy. The alpha state of the mind, if we do them a certain time of day or where we are adding music and different things. And the research basically shows with enough repetition, you smack it into your brain enough times, it can change your thoughts. But what is much, much more effective is harnessing your brain's natural ability as a solution seeker. You feed your brain a question and it wants to find that solution. So we have negative talk, and there's some fascinating research coming out that there's an evolutionary basis to that. I find that fascinating. But we are negative self-talkers. It's usually in the third or in the second person. Third person, you might be in the loony bin. The second person, and so you don't so much say, I'm an idiot, but you hear, you're an idiot. And so be aware of that type of second person talk. And then when you become aware of it, write it down, whatever that your self-critic says. We all have them, and we all have our favorite sayings. And bullying, it's really what it is a bully. Write down the criticism and then replace that with a positive affirmative question. So if my inner bully said, you're an idiot, I would write down, in what ways am I a smart, savvy business owner? And then my brain responds, well, you did this and you did this and you just learned this and you're putting this into action. And so can you see, subtly, we're affirming ourselves, because I just told myself I'm a smart, savvy business owner, right? That's the affirmation. But I'm building all of this evidence, which clicks in your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions, which is going to make it much more effective. So if your inner critic says, you're never going to make it, right? You're owning your own business. It's so important to you. You thought you'd set the world on fire. You're falling so much shorter than you thought you would be. And that bully's like, you're never going to make it. Then you would write a affirmative positive affirmative question, a PAC, of in what am I doing today that is ensuring my long-term success? Or in what ways am I shining in my business? And of course, I love the service aspect, right? So I'd be focusing on that. In what ways am I standing in service to others? And so as your mind starts creating this list of these things, you're affirming who you want to be, but you're very powerfully connecting to your why. You're connecting to that core of who you are. Like, this is what Judge did when he was alive, because he was present, that number one point we started with, because he was so present. And he affirmed people. He made them feel good about who they were and what they did. And he communicated this calm confidence to them that they could become more, and that he would hold that vision for them. And he did so much of this just by being who he was and sharing that presence.
So what happens for an entrepreneur when their tank is low? Are there other kinds of fuel, other ways that we can fuel ourselves up so that we can lead successfully?
This is so important. And again, I want to answer with kind of a fundamental point and then a more specific daily tool. Because that fundamental is to set your reference group. Look at who you are hanging out with. And the research is so strong on that it's amazing. It not only impacts those half a dozen people that we spend our time with and look to affirm us in our daily actions and what's most important to us, they statistically significantly impact how much money we make, our health, how much we weigh, how much we exercise, even our longevity, how long we'll live. That research is fascinating, and it continues to come out. And so, we talked about number one, be present, two, use PACs, positive affirmative questions. I'd say the third, let's keep it all P's to keep it simple and in your head. Be picky, coach up, mentor up, mastermind up, friend up, marry up, do everything up, because it is really, really important that you surround yourself with people who are positive, who have a can-do attitude, who are committed to growing their own resilience, and that they will not only model that for you, and they hit that brick wall and they say, hey, this wall isn't it isn't meant to keep me from where I really want to go. It's meant to remind me how much I want it, as Randy Pausch wrote in his fabulous book. And so that type of reference group is really important. So that's kind of a bigger picture thing, but it has so many practical implications. As far as the daily refueling, that is key, that those types of daily practices, and you have both the fundamentals there. And I know that people sometimes are surprised when they find that, I work with the Olympians and the elite athletes and the elite business people, and I give them a pretty non-sexy answer when they say, what do you really focus on? And it is fundamentals. I do this in my performance coaching. Their skills coaches, their athletic coaches, their business coaches do this in the skills focus, because you need to be getting the sleep, you need that nutrition, you need to be hydrating, you need to be having those core pieces in place. And this surprised me when I first came out of school as a performance psychology, and I started consulting with some mid-level teams and continued to work my way up. I had a file cabinet full of research on sleep, and I thought I'd have to convince them that not only did it affect the performance, but not having enough sleep increased their anxiety, it decreased their decision-making effectiveness and the quality of those decisions, and it impacts so many levels. And they would look at me and go, oh, no, I get my sleep. I carve that off. That's in my calendar, done. Because if I don't get that sleep, I can't perform at my best. And so elite athletes know this, and business people ignore it a lot. And so if you need to set 2 alarms so that you get up at a certain time in the morning, set 2 alarms. But set 1 alarm at least, and that's the alarm at night. Set that alarm so that you get yourself to bed at a time that allows you to have sufficient sleep. And actually set that first alarm 90 minutes before bedtime, because at that point you need to get away from the TV, from the computer, from all technology and false white light that messes with the quality of your sleep. And that's something that I've done much more after I got sick than before. Before, I was starting to burn the candle at both ends. I'm convinced that's part of why I set myself up for that heart virus. Right? So don't ignore the fundamentals. And then secondly is really to be working with your mind and your body and what psychologists and researchers call stress-rest cycles, but to be learning how to recoup your energy throughout the day in every 60 to 90 minute increments, so that as you expend energy, you're refueling. You expend it and you refuel. And as you continue to learn how to master that, you're going to grow through the challenges that life brings you. There's a lot more tools and specifics on these tools. I feel like we're covering a lot of material very quickly, but in my books, websites, wherever I can help people, take a look at these tools in more depth, because it really matters what you're doing on a daily basis to refuel yourself.
Before we wrap up, any pitfalls other than the opposite of all of those great things that you just told us?
Yeah. Take everything I said that's good and do it. Everything I said that's bad and do the opposite.
Right.
No, I think one of the biggest pitfalls for small business owners today is the lack of focus. It's that lack of focus. There's so much information that's coming at us that we're overwhelmed, and that these business owners need to get back in the driver's seat. They need to get re-engaged with what they want from their business, what they want from their life, what they want from their relationships, and use a lot of the tools that we've talked about today, and really hone in the focus, and really trust that as you let some of these things go so you can focus on those bigger pieces, that, like I said, it will take you to places you couldn't even imagine. But I've lived it, I've seen it again and again and again. And so that's really my call to small business owners today, is to be stopping the insanity, stop the overwhelm, and just more intentionally put your life and your business together in a way that fulfills you, makes you happy, and allows you to help more people.
Well, on behalf of just dailysuccessdeals.com, Molly, I want to thank you again so much for sharing your knowledge in such an open way, and sharing your personal stories. I think that it really helps to put things into perspective, and you're really somebody to look up to. So thank you so much for sharing with everybody.
Well, you're welcome, and I don't look up to me, just I'm walking along with you on this, and it's so much fun, and thank you for this opportunity to get my stories and these tools out to more people. So thank you.
My pleasure. It's all the time we have for today. Again, on behalf of dailysuccessdeals.com, I want to thank everybody for watching and listening. We know it's very, very difficult to build the business of your dreams, but you are driven to succeed, and that gives us the inspiration to help you get there. On behalf of dailysuccessdeals.com, I'm Carol Roth, and I will catch you next